The Pretty Little Liars theme song "Secret" by the Pierces has always creeped me out, but it's particularly apt in the wake of this week's number-signed Fatal Finale, the title of which is a nod to one of the song's lyrics, taking this one to the grave. We've known that someone was going to be killed off, and the episode opened with an ominous, but familiar scene: the liars lined on a picturesque street, crying and comforting each other. It's Thanksgiving and one liar, Spencer, isn't with the group. Finally Spencer goes back to Radley, teased actress Troian Bellisario in a tweet this morning. But in a way you'd never think. Had so much fun. Hate to say goodbye. That moment fueled the tension that hung over the episode, but in typical finale fashion, we didn't learn who was killed off until the show's final moments. But there were plenty of secrets revealed in the interim. Arlie, the most notorious liar of them all, took a polygraph test. There was a campy holiday scene in which we learned that Emily really likes Christmas and, as promised, Spencer returned to Radley. At the end of last week's episode, the girls came to the conclusion that Arlie might very well be the Arlie as a theory was confirmed by an unlikely ally, Mona. The girls paid Mona a visit at her house. "Why the grim faces?" Mona deadpanned. "Did somebody die?" The liars confessed that Arlie was at the police station and they're worried about what she'd tell them. It's clear that Mona is their last resort for help. But she's also a good choice. When she asks why they came to her, Aria pipes up, "Because you're Mona." And let's face it, Spencer plus Mona is essentially a brilliant duo. Mona later tells Spencer that she gained early admission to Harvard, Yale, Dartmouth and Brown. And let's not discount Hannah's smarts even though everyone else does. She apparently pulled a Zach Morris and did unexpectedly well on the Saturday. She may not know her Churchill quotes or how grilled cheese works, but she can ace a college admissions test. We got to meet Mona's mother, who would be easy to dismiss as absent or oblivious given Mona's detour to Crazy E-Town a few seasons back. Au contraire, Mona's mom seemed delighted that her daughter appeared to have friends, bringing tea and freshly baked cookies, Hannah's fave, snatched out to the girls as they talked. As they parted ways, Mrs. V pulled Mona's former BFF Hannah aside and asked if Arlie's return was causing trouble. Hannah pointedly told her that she was no longer friends with Arlie, but acknowledged Mrs. V's concern. "I do think that Mona's afraid of her. We all are." After they left, Mona dialed an accomplice. "Send out a code. Is she plotting something big?" It was Lucas, of course. Lucas informs Mona that Allison got to the army. "Crazy Mona, that's what they're calling you now. Can I get a number sign for Mona?" Her reaction sets the tone for how the liars will deal with their now enemy, Allison. "I think she gone full on socio," Mona tells Lucas. Later, in the bathroom at Rosewood High, Mona breaks down Arlie's game. "She can't play with her dolls if you won't let her," she tells the girls. They take turns wondering why Arlie chose them for her game. "She assembled the perfect group," Mona says. "Smart, loyal, admiring, compassionate. I feel like there should be an acronym here." Alas, Emily, not surprisingly, is the most hurt. "Beach never loved me." Mona instructs the group not to tell anyone that she's helping them, and that it includes your bed buddies. For Spencer, that's Officer Toby, whose impending graduation from the police academy is apparently cause for role-play. Emily and Paige dance around the fact that Paige went on a date last episode, eventually sharing a kiss. Aria and Ezra also turned a new page, Turns out Fitz is invited to a Montgomery family Thanksgiving. This is big. That leaves Anna to keep the operation a secret from Caleb, which is impossible. If Caleb can't tell Anna about seeing dead people, surely she can tell him that they're working with Mona. Caleb joins Anna, Paige and Emily for an intense afternoon of Christmas spirit, decorating Em's house with all the trappings of the house you drive to see every holiday season because it's so extravagantly lit up. Caleb senses that Hannah's hiding something and she divulges every detail, which Mona is smart enough to anticipate. After teaming up with Lucas to hack into the Rosewood Police Department's internal files, she calls a meeting to reveal what she got her hands on, the video of Arlie's polygraph. Turns out Arlie didn't say anything that specifically implicates the liars, but it's clear that the police are focusing on Spencer and what they suspect to be her role in Bethany Young's death. There are questions about Spencer's amphetamine addiction and how loyal of a friend she was to Arlie. Mona enlisted Caleb's help in her little hackathon and he's managed to find an affidavit that shows the police no longer consider Arlie the suspect in the murder of Bethany Young. They're zeroing in on Spencer, who as the child of two lawyers, knows what the next step is, and rest. The group quickly hatches a plan to infiltrate Radley in an attempt to establish a connection between Arlie and Bethany. Aria, continuing her volunteer work at the sanitarium, plays inside liars, while Halep watches from the outside with Anna barking nonsensical codes into the ears of Mona and Spencer, both very familiar with Radley because they used to be patients there. Dressed as orderlies, they slip undetected with Aria's help into the records room to find audio from Bethany's therapy sessions. Meanwhile, Emily is tasked with occupying Arlie's time. She invites Arlie over to her house under the guise that it's Thanksgiving and they're not talking and it's really sad. As the Radley plan starts to go south, thanks to an appearance from Detective Holbrook, Emily temporarily forgets that she's supposed to be watching Arlie. Allison asks for some tea and Emily turns her back long enough for Arlie to discover frantic texts from Anna. "I'm hey, right?" Arlie asks. Emily looks terrified and very, very angry. She says what we're all thinking, "I don't know. Are you?" Outside, Paige arrives with some chicken soup for Emily's date night alibi, a scratchy throat. She sees Arlie leaving in a huff and getting into the car with Mindy and Cindy, the twins formerly known as members of Mona's army. Arlie has gotten to them. Paige ignores the fact that Emily lied to her again and follows them in her vehicle. Back at Radley, Spencer starts to put the puzzle pieces together. Arlie's mom was having an affair with Bethany's father. With Holbrook on their trail, they take the tapes and run out of Radley's back door. Toby, the bed buddy with the least information about what's going on, wants to know where Spencer is. She's supposed to be at his graduation. Toby illustrates the perils of distracted driving, but he's saved by the fact that there's a full 10 minutes left in the episode. He emerges after the commercial break, alive but in a full-leg cast. As the liars catch up over coffee the next morning Thanksgiving at the brew, Paige drops in to tell Emily that Arlie and the Andy twins led her to an abandoned farm, where it appeared that Arlie was forming her own army. Seconds later, Holbrook and his partners arrive to arrest Spencer for the murder of Bethany Young. Spencer hasn't quite figured out how to use the videotape confession Melissa left for her, so for now, Bethany's audio tapes are her best bet for clearing her name. Enter Mona, who is listening to the tapes intently. She takes a break to send her mom off to Thanksgiving dinner, promising to follow after she finishes the report she's working on. She senses she's being followed and locks the door. She then calls Aria with a shocking discovery. Allison knew about her mom's affair and lured Bethany to Rosewood. She was jealous and wanted Bethany dead, Mona says. Allison is a and now I can prove it. Aria and Ezra race over to Mona's to see the proof, but someone else gets there first. A person in dark clothes with long blonde hair peeking out of the hood picks the lock on Mona's door and seals her unfortunate fate. Arriving at the house, Anna, Emily, Aria and Ezra make a grim discovery. There's blood everywhere, but no Mona. As Rosewood plays host to yet another crime scene, Holbrook announces that despite the fact that there's no body, they believe that Mona Vanderwild has been murdered. The liars, especially Anna, are visibly upset. Charlie appears in the crowd as well and it looks as if she's smirking. It's easy to think that the hooded blonde figure is Arlie, but then again, Cece Drake has proven that she can bears a passing resemblance to Arlie. And anyone can sport a wig. With no body, it looks as if we're being set up to believe that Mona could make a return, a la her nemesis. But we see the undeniable proof, Mona's lifeless body in a trunk. The murderer goes to Emily's house and steals the baby Jesus from the Fields' nativity scene, replacing it with a bespectacled Mona doll. That's cold. The killer then places the Jesus on top of Mona's body. This redecorating session has apparently caused it to feel the holiday spirit. The hooded figure goes home to make a snow globe, complete with a picture of the liars, snowflakes falling all around their happy faces. Lingering questions: who killed Mona? Does Jason know about his mom's other affair? Is Spencer going to tell the police about Melissa's confession? Can we stop pretending that Hannah's dumb?